the internationally acclaimed On Stage with Winford Williams.
At a new time, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on CVM TV.
So much more than entertainment.
Where it all begins. The quest to become great. Inspired by those who went before them, these four boys dream of playing in the ISSA schoolboy football competitions.
Will you score this for Casey? Will you score? It's a shot, it's a goal!
And it's a shot, and it's a goal! And Casey has won the Manning Cup, and they will play Clarendon College in the Olivier Shield.
Mammogram can shape your motherhood. The Jamaica Cancer Society, helping women now. Visit the website at jcs.live. Early detection saves lives.
Let's delve deep into the issues. We'll take you beneath the surface.
Greetings and salutations. My name is Orville Higgins, and it's another edition of Fan Central.
Talking to the people at the heart of the top sporting stories. Hear from your favorite sportsmen and women and the administrators who work tirelessly to make it all happen. It's a live sports talk.
I've written an entire article.
Yeah.
Looking at all the major issues every Tuesday at 9 p.m. It's Fan Central.
Lead Story, brought to you by VC Electrical Sales, quality products at affordable prices.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Nika Lewis, and this is Lead Story on CVM Television. It's been one day since Hurricane Melissa blew through Jamaica, uninvited, unrelenting, and unforgettable. She came with force, hammering the western parishes and leaving behind a trail of destruction that stretches far beyond her path. As the winds quiet and the waters recede, Jamaica is already picking up the pieces with courage, compassion, and grit. Tonight, we take you beyond the storm. This is Lead Story. This evening on Lead Story, Prime Minister Andrew Holness toured some of the parishes hardest hit by Hurricane Melissa, and what he saw was devastation and rubble. From collapsed homes to washed out roads and flattened crops, the scale of the destruction is only now becoming clear. Now, Mr. Holness met with local officials and residents as he addressed the damage firsthand, promising swift relief and coordinated recovery efforts. He spoke with the media following the tour.
All right, so I'm going to ask Member of Parliament Floyd Green to give his assessment of the damage.
So clearly we've suffered a devastating blow here in southwest St. Elizabeth, especially with the town of Black River. I would say over 90% of the houses have suffered infrastructural damage. The entire town has been almost completely wiped out by Hurricane Melissa, especially a number of our historic buildings. Access into the capital is non-existent at the moment because of a number of down power lines and trees. This is also the case in a number of our communities in and around Black River, communities like Treasure Beach, Big Woods, Mountainside, Barbary Hall, all the way over to Five Spen, Middle Quarters, Lancewood. There's a lack of connectivity, lack of electricity, and significant infrastructure damage. So thankfully the PM and the team are on the ground to coordinate the relief and recovery efforts, and we know it will take some time, so I want to say to everybody, just rest assured that we will do our utmost to get to you as quickly as possible.
Thank you, Minister. SSP.
Thank you, Prime Minister. We have been here with the Mayor as part of the Parish Command team. Currently, sir, we have 4 reports of deaths. 2 bodies were found this morning floating in the Black River area, and the other 2 bodies in the Gallant Beach area. We are continuing to support the recovery efforts and to ensure the safety as best as possible, particularly ensuring that the major corridors are clear. And so the JCF is providing that support to the various stakeholders, the JPS, the utility persons, the telecommunications persons, to ensure their safety as they go through to ensure that this area is restored as soon as possible.
Mr. Mayor.
Well, at this current point, we were devastated, and one of the serious concerns that we are experiencing now, our relief supplies would have been totally wiped out. The container that we had stored with supplies to help out now would have been totally gone. Our building structure would have been hosting a lot of supplies totally wiped out. So at this point in time, we're appealing for some relief supplies to assist. We would have had up to 16 feet of water at our command center during the passage of Melissa. As a result, all our vehicles are immobile. So at this current time, it's unable for us to respond. JCF would have been facing the same challenges just as us at the command center. Even at the hospital, the ambulance system transportation is totally down. So at this point in time, we are in need of some mobility so that we can do proper assessment. The next phase that we are going to be moving into is to activate our humanitarian committee so that we can do a proper assessment. But as you can appreciate, it will be very difficult considering the roadways that are impassable at this time. But nonetheless, we would have activated our system where we had contractors on standby, and I'm happy to report that so far 3 backhoes and trucks would have been here trying to assist with the clearing of some of these roads. JPS with CEO Grant would have reached out to me earlier this morning. The team is responding well. They would have reached out to find out where are the critical areas. So they are out deployed. We are focusing on the critical services. Just letting everybody know, all the critical agencies in Black River, they are totally destroyed. So we crave for patience. We are all one, and at this point in time, we are going to do our best to respond positively. But I say we crave for your patience and understanding at this point in time.
I flew over the south coast of St. Elizabeth into Black River, and from Treasure Beach to this point, we could easily say that between 80 to 90% of roofs have been destroyed. A significant number of buildings were damaged. On the ground, the impact is even more palpable. Right now, we are standing in close proximity to the Black River Hospital, and that has been totally destroyed, along with several other buildings, including historic buildings, churches, courthouse, the parish council, and other older heritage buildings have been destroyed. The electricity grid of Black River is totally wiped out. Telecommunications, we have seen 1 tower damaged. We are not certain if the other one is operable. So the entire infrastructure and everything needed for the convenience of modern living is destroyed here in Black River. The people are still coming to grips with the destruction, but from what I've seen and the interaction, the people here are strong, resilient, and positive in outlook. The government intends to complement that with bringing in the necessary emergency relief. The first line of effort in this regard is to clear the roadways to allow for vehicular traffic, not just to allow people to come in and visit relatives that they can't get in contact with, but to bring in much needed supplies to the supermarkets and other supply centers which are now empty. So once we get that accomplished, then we will start to see on top of that more assistance coming in, including assistance from ODPEM and other relief agencies who I'm certain are already mobilized waiting to come. It is going to be a massive task to rebuild Black River, this historic town. But while it is destroyed, we can vision a future of it rising stronger and better. Because the truth is that many of the buildings were not properly located in the first place. They were in vulnerable areas. We will now take the opportunity to properly reorganize the town and to build back even stronger. So yes, we got a big blow. Black River is what you would describe as ground zero. It took the brunt of it, and the corridor through the south of St. Elizabeth, through Black River, going across the island, going into St. James, that corridor was totally damaged. But the recovery is not beyond us. It's not beyond the government, it's not beyond the people, and we will get it done. So keep the positive outlook, keep hope alive, and we will get through this, and we will rebuild better.
And from the Prime Minister to the opposition leader who issued a statement this afternoon, let's take a listen.
My fellow Jamaicans, this is Mark Golding, President of the People's National Party and Leader of the Opposition. With the massive destruction and devastation caused by Hurricane Melissa, Jamaica is facing tremendous challenges. To those who have suffered loss, your pain is our pain. You are not alone. We are a people who have always turned trials into triumphs. The unbreakable spirit of our people is more powerful than any hurricane, and we will overcome these challenges. The days ahead will require our collective determination and resilience. Let us link our hands and hearts. Working together in unity, we will clear the debris, rebuild our communities, and rise from this stronger than before. This is our home, and working together, Jamaica will recover from this disaster. We stand ready to help and serve in every way we can. So, let us move forward with great hope and in the spirit of unity. With God as our guide and our keeper, let us show the world that we are and we will always be Jamaica strong. One love.
Lead Story continues right after this.
Lead like the world is watching.
Because it is. The Impact Leadership Summit brings the ultimate business advantage on November 4 at the AC Marriott Hotel, Kingston, Jamaica.
Learn from global speaker and entrepreneur, Vusi Temakwai.
Leaders, hear me and hear me now. Do they understand the calling and are they God-led?
Maxwell Leadership Coach, Erica McKenzie.
Oxford Rhodes Scholar and global investor, David Walcott.
Investment Guru and Senator Ramon Small Ferguson.
This is where leaders rise and impact begins.
Sponsored by Creative Brands and Concepts,
The Summit,
BYD,
AC Hotel,
and Intelligent Multimedia. For more info, call 876-438-11.
A mammogram can shape your motherhood. The Jamaica Cancer Society, helping women now. Visit the website at jcs.live.
Early detection saves lives.
Jamaica's unemployment rate has fallen to 3.3%, down from 13.2% in 2016. Our government's continued focus on job creation is delivering real results. We are building Jamaica. The Time by the Office of the Prime Minister is...
And that's what you love to see. They may be rivals, but the camaraderie is what it's all about. Can't wait for the final.
Every dream conquered is another dream gained. I land and I fly again like a jet plane. Headed straight in your direction, 'cause I'm wiser, one step closer. I'm winning 'cause I work so hard. And the music keeps on playing, and the people them I say we are my show tonight. Oh, what a feeling! Don't stop dreaming. Keep on believing in the power of the feeling. Whatever you want, take a chance. Song in your heart, step in your dance. You got a spark, don't fit it down, shine your lights on.
Hey everybody, I'm Yendi, and this is Odyssey with Yendi. In this space, we connect with some of your favorite people as they share their journeys. Here we have some unfiltered conversations as we deep dive into their inspirations, motivations, and experiences to inspire our own life journey.
Odyssey with Yendi, brought to you by Grace, Singer, and Islandnet Services.
Let's delve deep into the issues. We'll take you beneath the surface.
Greetings and salutations. My name is Orville Higgins, and it's another edition of Fan Central.
Talking to the people at the heart of the top sporting stories. Hear from your favorite sportsmen and women and the administrators who work tirelessly to make it all happen. It's live sports talk.
I've written an entire article.
Yes.
Looking at all the major issues every Tuesday at 9 p.m. It's Fan Central.
The internationally acclaimed On Stage with Winfred Williams.
At a new time, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on CVM TV.
So much more than entertainment.
Welcome back to Lead Story. It's tracking Melissa in the aftermath. And so we are here talking all things utility. We will be talking with the JPSCO because 76% of the Jamaica Public Service customers remain without electricity in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, and the powerful Category 5 system devastated infrastructure island-wide, toppling poles, downing power lines, and damaging key transmission routes. JPS crews have been working around the clock to restore power, but many communities remain in the dark tonight. Joining us live to provide an update on the restoration efforts and what customers can expect in the coming days is Ms. Winsome Callum, Director of Corporate Communications at the Jamaica Public Service Company, JPSCO. Welcome, Ms. Callum.
Thank you so much. Good evening.
Well, can you give us an update on the current status of the national power grid and how many customers remain without electricity as of now?
No, we still have over 500,000 customers without electricity. We have just over, in total, we have just about 700,000 customers across the island. Right now, more than 3/4 of those customers are without power. And as you know, this is because of the impact of the Category 5 Hurricane Melissa on the grid. We are in the process of assessment that is the first step that any electricity company must take, and not just electricity company, but that's the first step that has to be taken after we have any system event like a storm or a hurricane. We have to assess the damage. So once we got the all clear from the government this morning, basically an indication that it's okay to go out and start whatever you need to do, we have deployed hundreds of workers on the ground to do the damage assessment. We had our CEO also going out for aerial patrols, because this is something that we are committed to doing as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So the step one, damage assessment, and we have been doing that. We've been right across the island getting that done. Immediately after damage assessment, where it is possible, we start restoring power. As long as it is safe to do so, we start restoring power. So today we've actually been able to restore quite a number of customers in the 3 parishes that did not sustain significant damage. And those parishes are Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Thomas, and sections of St. Catherine, primarily the Portmore communities. So today we made some headway in getting customers in these 3 parishes back onto the grid. We have not been able to get everybody back on, but we have made significant progress.
Understood.
With regards to the rest of the island, though, it's not looking good. The feedback from the initial damage assessment is that we have sustained significant, extensive devastation, damage to the electricity grid right across the island. So all parishes except St. Thomas, Kingston and St. Andrew and St. Catherine are entirely in the dark now because of the impact of the hurricane on the national grid. Based on the images that we saw during the damage assessment, it's looking bad. It's looking really bad. This could take weeks, months in some cases, because it's not just about repairing and restoring. It's about rebuilding before we can restore. So that's how it's looking right now. It's not a good picture. It's not a pretty picture. I know it's not what our customers want to hear, but the reality is that we sustained the impact of a Category 5 hurricane, the strongest hurricane that has ever made landfall in Jamaica. And so our parishes in the central and western ends of the island, central and western parishes, have been devastated. We have a lot of rebuilding to do.
In terms of the impact of this hurricane, how do you compare it to previous hurricanes, being, as you mentioned, the most severe so far?
It's really early, but in speaking with some persons who were part of the reconnaissance and damage assessment today, it feels as if last year hurricane season, when we went through Beryl, we went through Raphael, it feels like those were mild compared to what we have experienced or are experiencing now in terms of damage to infrastructure. And I'm not just talking about electricity infrastructure. We are seeing images of buildings and telecoms infrastructure, water, electricity just really being totally demolished by the gale force, the hurricane force winds that we had to go through the last couple of days.
Are there certain areas that you will, however, be prioritizing at this time? You mentioned that there was impact all across the country and some of it was unimaginable, I would suppose. But are you prioritizing any particular space or spaces at this time beyond the...
Yes, we do have a priority matrix that we work with. So right now, as I said, the most important thing for us to do is damage assessment. This will take a while, but while we're doing the damage assessment, we're using the opportunity to restore power as we go along. So the priority for restoration of power, once you've done the damage assessment, is to make sure that you get power to essential services. and that means our hospitals. It means the telecoms infrastructure. So we're working closely with Digicel and Flow. We're also working really closely with the National Water Commission. So in terms of priority, we try as best as possible to get service first to essential services. Once we get to the essential services, we look at how we can get power to the most significant, largest number of businesses or communities with the least damage. So we actually do make sure that we try to jumpstart or support the restarting of the economy by focusing on the business communities. So we will try as best as possible to support the restart of the tourist industry, the manufacturing sector. So those belts where you have a concentration of industries, we try to get power back to them.
Usually we hear persons in certain rural spaces saying they are typically the last to be returned to the grid. How long do you possibly imagine it might take for some of the worst impacted rural spaces, for example, to be back on the power grid?
The reason why some of these rural spaces are delayed in terms of bringing them back on the grid, getting power back to them, the reasons are usually access. It's difficult to get access. Based on the impact of the hurricane, we have had a lot of flooding and landslides, and so getting into some communities will be challenging. We will be depending on the support of the national works agencies, the local municipalities, and whoever else can support the restoration, the removal of debris from the roadways. It will take months. I can tell you, I know it's not what we want to hear as consumers because we're so dependent on electricity, but it will take months. It's difficult at this point to give you a specific timeline, but what I can say with certainty is that it will take months.
How will the overseas workers perhaps make this restoration quicker?
Well, we are really, really happy that we took the proactive move to get these workers in Jamaica on the ground before the hurricane hit us. It's actually a game changer in terms of how we've been operating previously. So having them here will help to expedite the process. They are all out in the field. They were all on the ground today, and some of them are still working to get the assessment done, to just really fast track the assessment as thoroughly, as completely, and as safely as possible. So having more boots on the ground is absolutely a game changer. So we do expect that the external assistance will make the process faster. We are also expecting additional support to come in, so that help will also advance the process. Note, however, that it's not just the flicking of a switch to get the power back onto our customers. We have to start by ensuring that the infrastructure is okay. We have to make sure the power plants are okay before we even start the generating units to produce electricity. We have to make sure that the substations are working. We have to make sure that the high tension lines can move electricity from the power plant to your home. We have to make sure that the distribution lines that come into your homes and businesses, that they are up and running. So it is a time-consuming process, and it has to be done in a very deliberate way that manages the output and ensures that there is no danger. It's done as safely as possible, even as we seek to expedite.
Ms. Callum, super quickly, what can you tell us about that operation center, and will efforts be in place to rebuild? What exactly will happen for the Santa Cruz or Black River, I think?
The Black River office.
Yes. What will happen for that? How will it impact restoration efforts?
Right now, we have to look at finding alternatives for our team members. there's been a lot of displacement, not just in Black River. Like many other businesses, JPS has had to deal with, JPS workers have been impacted. They have had to deal with being dislocated. So we are making every effort to ensure that this does not impact the pace of restoration. So we're working with some of the local businesses to find alternatives.
All right, thank you so much, Winsome Callum, the corporate...
Thank you.
The Director of Corporate Communications at the Jamaica Public Service Company. We take a break. Do stay with us on Lead Story.
Jamaica, make we do the right thing. Make we live good today for a better tomorrow. Talk it out. Don't fight it out. The time by the Ministry of National Security is 6.
Visit VC's Electrical Sales today at 21 Mannings Hill Road, Kingston 8. Come see why VC's Electrical Sales is your go-to for quality electrical supplies at great prices. Check our website to see a sample of our products or call us for the full inventory at 876-622-9800. VC's Electrical Sales, also known as VC's Electrical Depot.
It's time.
Welcome to High School Pitchside. We have another fascinating episode for you.
More matches, more big clashes.
Let's talk about some of the big rivalries coming up this week.
More of your favorite features.
And trust me, you won't fall asleep in this history class.
And of course, we always want to hear from you.
Hear from your alma mater's players and coaches in Team Talk.
You know we can't leave you out. So send us your messages on social media and watch us react on FanView.
And you know we love a good little debate, right, Gio?
We've got you covered all season long on High School Pitchside.
High School Pitchside, your ultimate guide to all things schoolboy football, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on CVM TV.
Welcome back to Lead Story. We're tracking Hurricane Melissa in the aftermath, and we have Minister of Transport, Telecommunications and Energy, Darrell Vaz. He today toured Jamaica's two main airports, Norman Manley International in Kingston and the Sangster International in Montego Bay, St. James, with the aim of reopening both before the end of the day. But beyond air travel, there are also questions about the resumption of operations for the JUTC and the restoration of key utility services such as electricity and telecommunications. Minister Darrell Vaz joins us live now. Welcome, Minister.
Welcome. Good afternoon to everybody, especially those that have been affected by the passage of Melissa.
Well, Minister, can you give us the latest update on the condition of both airports and whether they're ready to resume operations?
So, Norman Manley International Airport resumed at 4 o'clock this evening for relief flights, and also tomorrow at 7 a.m. for commercial passenger flights. The damage was insignificant. As a matter of fact, you wouldn't even really know that there was an event based on the fact that Palisades was clear, there was no sand or anything on the road, and the airport itself, the runway, and all the facilities, save and except for one small part that was under construction where they lost some roofing, but that will not interrupt the full operations of Norman Manley International Airport as of this evening, 4 o'clock. I had a stakeholder meeting out there, and I expect that tomorrow we will expect a number of relief flights arriving in Jamaica throughout the day tomorrow, and they will be received, and everything will be in place. For Montego Bay, a little more superficial damage. No major infrastructure damage from my viewpoint. There is 2 terminals, departure and arrival terminals, gates 1 to 7 and gates 8 to 19. Gate 1 to 7 was the original prior to the extension of the departure area. So there is some water damage and some roof damage to gates 1 to 5. But I suspect that they will close 1 to 7 temporarily. But 8 to 19 will be more than enough to accommodate the level of flights that we will have in and out, especially in the short term, while they're doing other necessary preparations and obviously fixing the damaged areas. So they will open tomorrow morning at 10 for relief flights, and hopefully by end of night tonight, I will be in a position to say when they will accept passenger flights, which more than likely will be either tomorrow evening or Friday morning. It's important that we do that so we can get the remaining tourists out of Jamaica. I think there's about 21,000 that are still here, so that the hotels can start to work in earnest to get their properties back up for December. And on top of which, obviously, the situation there is a little worse because they got almost a direct hit. But thankfully, the plant and the radars and the runway are in safe operational mode. JUTC will start tomorrow morning, as usual, in the Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Catherine, Portmore. So that will be in place. And also the Maritime Authority of Jamaica has indicated to me also that the Harbour Master has given the okay for vessels to come in to Kingston, to the both ports. And obviously we should have an update on Montego Bay tomorrow. So I want to reassure the public, especially those that obviously want to help both locally and internationally, that we are moving apace. And I expect that we will have the both airports fully normal for incoming and outgoing flights and relief flights by end of day tomorrow, Friday the latest for Montego Bay, and tomorrow morning. So you can expect that the airlines will be now posting their new schedules. So persons, I know that there's a lot of persons overseas that want to get back, especially Jamaicans. So they can rest assured, just keep in touch with your travel agency or the airline directly, and you'll understand exactly what the new flight schedule is to get to Jamaica.
Minister, were any JUTC depots or buses damaged during the hurricane?
There is plenty of the metro, windshield broken and some damage to some of the buses, I think 3 or 4. But the Montego Bay Metro facility was damaged as a result, as you can understand, with the passage of Melissa, and it's an old structure. So, but we'll work with what we have to make sure that we continue to give both air and ground transportation, and obviously the assessments continue. I did fly over the most affected areas today. JPS did a flyover with their engineers today to get a full understanding of the extent of the damage. And what we're going to do is try and work with the areas that were less affected, get them out of the way, using the linesmen that are here now until the assessment is complete for the harder hit areas, and a plan to get in there, which is going to require additional personnel and assets, which the JPS is already has on standby and waiting for the airports and the seaports to open.
Minister, so the utilities side of things, you mentioned aspects of the tour, all of that, but do you have a number of customers who are without service at this time, especially telecommunications?
Yes, I don't have it. JPS had issued it this morning, and I think it was posted. But we had 70%.
The telecommunication side, do you have any information on that?
They're still assessing. I know that I was in St. James today, and there's no digital service whatsoever in St. James, limited flow. And I know that once I got to Alligator Pond, I had no phone service until such time as I was able to get a hotspot at the airport in Montego Bay. So that's going to be a critical component to the recovery. Starlink is in touch, and Starlink is going to be used as a secondary source for both flow and digital, based on additional spectrum licenses that I granted yesterday. So customers can expect that by tomorrow, latest Friday, they'll be able to communicate on those digital and flow platforms based on the Starlink backup that they have, even if the service for those the local service is not back up and running. So again, I want to assure the Jamaican people that we are fully aware of what we are faced with as a government, and I know what I'm faced with as a Minister for Telecoms, Electricity and Energy. Petrojam, we have 14 days of fuel, of diesel, and of course, we would have been disrupted in terms of the choice of fuel mix for JPS, but we are doing our best to make sure that we work with what we have and make sure that we can provide recovery efforts in the shortest possible time.
What can you tell us about your constituency at this time?
My constituency is obviously out of light of most sections of it up to yesterday. I know that they brought back 30% today, but the fact that we didn't get hit directly, the transmission lines for JPS go from the eastern end of the island to the western end of the island. So once one side, any side that is affected, will have an impact on the entire island. So they are working on that as we speak. But obviously, we have to be thankful in the eastern end of the island, especially Kingston and St. Andrew, where the epicenter of the response is going to be coordinated, that we were not hit with a direct hit. But I can tell you from just flying over today, words can't express the level of damage that has been caused to those persons in those low-lying areas in the sections of a direct hit. And we, all of us, each and every one of us, including those of us who have light and water here in Kingston, has to band together to make sure that we do everything to help our brothers and sisters in the western end of the island. That's a plea that I'm making. It's easy to be here and easy to have light and water and air condition and offices go to work every day and lose sight of the suffering of those in Western Jamaica that have been hit.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Minister Darrell Vaz, Minister of Transport, Energy, Telecommunications, and Member of Parliament for Western Portland. We're now being joined by Mr. ODPEM himself, Mr. Richard Thompson, and we understand that hundreds of Jamaicans sought refuge in emergency shelters, while others are now assessing their losses and beginning the long road to recovery. So coordinating much of that response is the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM. They've been ensuring shelters, relief supplies, and recovery operations are up and running, and joining us now live is Acting Director General. Are you still acting, sir? Mr. Richard Thompson, to give us an update on the national response efforts.
Yes, I am. That's my current designation.
All right. Just making sure that I didn't misrepresent you. But Mr. Thompson, could you give us a sense of the national picture tonight? How many shelters remain open? How many people are still being housed in them?
Well, currently we have just around 7,099 persons in the shelters. With 419 shelters being opened.
Which parishes?
Mainly the western parishes have those persons in the shelters, and the number is steadily going down. But based on what we are seeing on the ground, we know that those numbers will stay high until we have gone through doing a lot of the kind of restoration process, because many persons have total loss in terms of their residence.
Which parishes would you have said, beyond saying the western end, but are there any specific parishes you'd say were most affected in terms of flooding and displacement?
Well, there was some flooding in St. Thomas. St. Thomas tend to get a lot of flooding. There's some parts of St. Thomas was also having storm surge activity. We didn't, and even though Hanover is western,
yes,
they were a little not as badly affected as Montego Bay and the southwestern side, such as St. Elizabeth, Black River. but Lucy, the town of Lucy had flooding. So and that tend to happen constantly whenever time there is major hydrometeorological events. Lucy tend to be flooded. So that situation applied this time around as well.
Yes.
So those are the areas that we are seeing. Kingston, some urban flooding, the water run off very, very quickly.
Okay.
But in terms of flooding activity, that's what we're seeing. We have not had any major report just yet because, as you can appreciate, information is still coming in because there are a lot of areas that there is a total blackout of communication.
Understood. Mr. Thompson, we're going to ask you to take a brief pause because we're up on a break. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Visit VC's electrical sales today at 21 Mannings Hill Road, Kingston 8. Come see why VC's electrical sales is your go-to for quality electrical supplies at great prices. Check our website to see a sample of our products or call us for the full inventory at 876-622-9800. VC's Electrical Sales, also known as VC's Electrical Depot.
Where it all begins. The quest to become great. Inspired by those who went before them, these four boys dream of playing in the ISSA schoolboy football competitions.
Will you score this for Casey? Will you score? It's a shot, it's a goal!
And it's a shot, and it's a goal! And Casey has won the Manning Cup, and they will play Clarendon College in the Olivia Shield. And that's what you love to see. They may be rivals, but the camaraderie is what it's all about. Can't wait for the final.
When the bus the man, I want to watch my son play finals for CVM, you know.
But mums, you can't watch it on CVM website, man.
My son score, my son score, my son score, my son score.
Greatness begins here.
Welcome back to Lead Story. We're continuing the conversation about the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa with Acting Director General of ODPEM, Mr. Richard Thompson. Welcome back, Mr. Thompson.
Yes, thank you.
So before the break, you were making a point pertaining to some of the parishes most impacted and what you've been seeing. Would you want to finish that?
Yes, so you were asking about flooded areas apart from that massive situation that we were dealing with last night in Montego Bay. So St. Catherine as well had flooding, and I said St. Thomas, and also areas in Clarendon had flooding as well. So those were some of the areas outside of the vast kind of major operation, major action that was happening in the southwest and northwestern side of the island.
Sir, could you say what kind of conditions you've seen in the shelters? You know, supplies such as food, bedding, water. Was there sufficient? Are there sufficient at this stage?
Well, at present, a lot of persons took in their own supplies in the shelters. We do appreciate, and we are seeing where some persons have not. So what we have gone out to do additional food drops in those shelters. We will be having, based on our pre-position logistical arrangement and our forward logistical arrangement at the airports and at the seaports that we will be doing in terms of taking in relief supplies. We'll be getting agencies coming in to assist with providing warm meals for persons in those shelters. So by latter part of tomorrow, we should be impacting that and getting supplies out to those shelters and to those persons. I think it's for the shelter numbers that we have seen or that we saw over, because it is going down, over this situation is a little bit higher than what we have seen, certainly in my time of having had to deal with disaster management and relief distribution situation.
Are there areas where access, for example, is still a challenge for your relief teams because of blocked roads or flooding?
Yes, the roads are still blocked as in the St. Anne, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Trelawney area. You are going to have that. There are still down power lines, down trees. We know that there are areas that would have been blocked by land slippage. So there are areas of concern in terms of access, and you'll get that even when we start pushing out the damage assessment team in terms of looking at all the sectors, looking at the household damage assessment survey. We will face some level of challenges in order to get into certain areas. So that's a given, and that is accepted after an event, and especially one of this nature that we have never faced before. So we are expecting that there will be some areas that will be inaccessible for a period of time, and then it will take some time for the National Works Agency and its contractors to clear some of these areas for access. So that's a given in light of what has happened over the past 2 days.
So you've heard about communities therefore being cut off. We've heard and seen some ourselves, certainly in St. Andrew, where a whole section of a roadway in the Mavis, well, I'm not even sure if it was Mavis Bank alone, but several communities seemingly cut off. Have you been able to get relief supplies to those communities?
Well, not as yet. There are some. We did some operation today. The MLSS went out into the field, but there are some, especially those communities in the upper reaches, we have not yet been able to access those communities. A lot of those activities will be taking place tomorrow, so we'll be doing a lot of those activities tomorrow. The immediate after take some planning. The day after, when there is still rainfall activity, there is still dark skies, and that's why we put in extensive planning, pre-planning, and say to the persons, get supplies as best as possible. Even though we have to appreciate that there are some communities, there are some persons that tend to find it hard on a regular basis or on a daily basis. So we as best as possible, we always say to persons, have something to tie you over for two days roughly, because when you're looking at inaccessibility and all these things, it take a little time, not a long time, but a little time for us to mobilize that kind of operation.
We've heard Mr. Thompson reports of rising river levels and lingering floodwaters. Is ODPEM monitoring any areas at risk of secondary flooding or landslides? So
the areas that we tend to watch, because even before Melissa, we were almost at full ground saturation. So there are areas, the Mavis Bank area, those areas going to Cavaliers, Mavis Bank, Newcastle area, those areas are going to have landslides. The junction, the gorge, those areas tend to have land slippage as well as rock slide. We are monitoring those areas. We are monitoring Monique. Monique tend to, after a major event, you tend to start having rising waters in Monique after a while, because there are a lot of areas that drain into the lake in Monique. Similar with Chigwell in Hanover. Chigwell tend to take a lot of the water, and that's based on the underground caverns that makes up that area. It takes a lot of the water from Newmarket. So once the water that side start to subside on other areas, it takes water from other areas as well. We tend to start having rising waters in Chigwell. We saw that during Gustav and also during TD16, what we tend to call Nicole, where weeks after water has subsided in a lot of the areas, especially in Manchester, St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland. We start having rising water in Chigwell, and Chigwell is in Hanover.
What's the process now, sir, for assessing the extent of the damage and coordinating with other agencies like the NWA and JPSCO?
So now it's looking at the comprehensive damage assessment, and that is to really get a comprehensive view on what has happened out there. It really lends itself to allowing for decision making as well in terms of your distribution and decision making in how we do your recovery operation, your short term, medium term, and long term recovery and reconstruction. So the teams have started out today. There's a high emphasis on power restoration and communication restoration, and especially for areas that have critical infrastructure, your police station, hospitals. Those areas are critical infrastructure that we want to ensure that there is power for those areas. So the team is out very early doing that, and then you start having sector analysis, where all the various sectors will be out there crunching the numbers, doing the calculation, so that the administration can have an eye on the total cost of the damage and what need to do as it relates to financing the restoration.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Richard Thompson, Acting Director General of ODPEM, giving us the latest on the shelters, etc. And that does it for Lead Story here on CVM TV. But don't go anywhere, because we have the news where we continue to track Melissa in the aftermath right after these.
Brought to you by VC Electrical Sales, quality products at affordable prices.